Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365. First Football Fridays for the 2024 season with training camp officially underway. Joined now by Ed Kracz, who was down there this week with Johnny Mack at NovaCare. Ed Kracz, how you doing, man? Great to have you on.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, Ed. I don't see you enough this time of year. I'm sure you're thrilled.
You guys are about to get sick of each other real fast, real quick.
Yeah.
Good times, though. Good times.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a blank canvas here, Ed, because I don't want to pollute you with my views. What do you like? What do you dislike in the first 2 days of camp?
You have been polluting me with your views all week, John. So why change now? Well, listen, I think what's really stood out to me has been just the play of the offense. When you go back just 2 months to the spring, and it looked like Jalen Hurts was miles away from getting a grasp of what Kellen Moore wanted him to do. We saw him throw several interceptions, I think 3 or 4. He had a couple more dropped, and he's throwing the ball over the middle. He just didn't look real comfortable. And you thought, well, this is really going to be a long summer with him trying to figure this thing out. But the offense has come out and has looked pretty good, I think. I mean, I asked Jordan Mailata that yesterday if he thinks, it looks as crisp as it does to me. And first he said, no, there's something wrong with your eyes. And then he kind of agreed, yeah, it looks crispy, is his word. It does look crispy.
Sam Bradberry Day, I called it. Ball didn't hit the ground, Ed. Yeah, when they were dropping it.
Hurts looks good. And listen, I think this is going to be an offense that, we saw a lot of tight end heavy usage these first couple of days. We saw a lot of motion. And, man, that's really, different than what we've seen in the past. So I think Hurts is going to throw the ball more over the middle. At least that's what these first 2 days have shown me. But then you think back to last summer, and I know it was a different coaching staff, but DeAndre Swift caught like 90 passes.
That's true. Yeah.
And then the curtain went up on the season, and they didn't throw him the ball. Yeah. So, you hope that Kellen
Remember
Moore,
week 1, they were preparing for New England, and DeAndre Swift was working with the receivers and individual drills, and we were all like, whoa, they're going to break out some stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing. Zero.
And it never happened. I know. Yeah. So, you see what you see in summer, and you hope that it, translates into the regular season. Kellen Moore, obviously, I was told yesterday by, really plugged in NFL source that Kellen Moore's system is really favorable to quarterbacks. If you can figure it out, quarterbacks can have big seasons in this offense that Kellen Moore designs. We saw Dak Prescott do it. Justin Herbert got hurt last year. He didn't have a full season with him in LA. But, listen, if Hurts can figure this out, if he can make the throws that Moore wants him to make, especially over the middle, that just opens up a whole another chapter of the playbook, in my opinion. So that's kind of what stood out to me on the offense. And, I think another takeaway for the defensive side of the ball, and John, you and I have talked about this, is there really hasn't been too many splash plays. And that's because the offense, I think, is just operating at a higher level. And, this is a defense that's young, that's going to take some time to mold, and that's Vic Fangio's job. So really the offense, to me, is going to have to kind of carry this team early in the year until the defense can kind of get, a little more acclimated to what Fangio wants, a little more experience with these young players. But I think I like so far on the defense, I like Devin White. I think Devin White, I asked him yesterday because to me it looked like he was heavy in the spring, and I asked him if he lost weight. And he said, yeah, he dropped a few pounds. He was in the 240s. He's trying to keep it under 240 pounds because then he can fly. And he just talks like a leader, man. I think this guy is going to be a big addition for a young defense. I think he can still play. I think last year's contract situation really distracted him. I think he was injured. And I think that, he's at a crossroads now, right? 1 year deal, $3.5 million. This is a bargain basement price for a player who I think is going to lead this defense. And that's, to me, who kind of has stood out.
That concerns me. That's never a good thing, Ed. When your leader on your defense, you bought at the Walmart clearance aisle. I don't like that. I don't like.
Well, listen, it's not like it would be the first time it happened if a bargain basement priced player comes in and shines for a team.
But if we're playing the odds game, I mean, contracts don't tell you everything, but they tell you a lot. Because there's 31 other teams out there.
Well, if you listen to White, I mean, he was friends with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts prior to coming here, and they started this group chat. So, listen, there might have been other teams in on him, or maybe there were concerns about his play, but he's 26 years old. He has friends on this team. He tried to recruit Nakobe Dean to LSU when White was at LSU and Nakobe was coming into the league. Nakobe didn't listen. He went to Georgia, had a great career, Butkus Award winner there at Georgia. But, that could be a part of it too, is he had friends in the building. He knew Brown and Hurts very well. And we maybe saw that with TJ Edwards. He went to Chicago because that's where he was from. So listen, I'm not concerned at all about the contract. I think, your play speaks a heck of a lot louder than a contract. And I think White has shown me that he can play. I mean, he's flying around sideline to sideline. He looks like he's at the right weight. He doesn't look as slow as I thought he looked in the spring. So I'm encouraged by that.
And he won the Butkus Award too. You got 2 Butkus Award winners.
Yeah. How about Zach Bond? Did he win the Butkus Award when
he
was?
Not. He did not. DJ came.
Fangio loves Zach Bond. Fangio talked up Zach Bond again on Thursday about how he likes what he brings. So
yeah, it's interesting. Vic was great. I can't say enough good things about Vic Fangio because I love honesty, and the guy is just brutally honest. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing, though, from the perspective of a lot of people just take the baton and go the way they want to go with it when people are on. Like, you read the transcript, and he didn't insult Bryce Huff, but a lot of people acted like he did.
Right.
By saying, basically, if they had to play Sunday, he's not ready. But he said he thinks he's going to be ready. He's confident he's going to be ready September 6th. Sometimes honesty isn't good and that's why coaches act the way they act, most of them. Vic, you ask him a question, be careful because he's going to answer it.
Yeah, love it. And that's probably what rubbed some of those Miami Dolphin players the wrong way last year.
That's what I mean.
Do you think it rubs Bryce Huff the wrong way? I mean, it's a fair question. I liked what he said. I understood what he said. I don't even think he said Bryce can't be that guy. He just said he's never done it in his career. So it's new for him. And I liked what he said, but any chance that rubs your new shiny toy you signed in the offseason wrong coming into the year?
Yeah, who cares? Listen, if it rubs in the wrong way, then take a seat. I mean, listen, it would light a fire under me if I'm a player.
That's right. That was my take.
Someone comes out and says that about me. I'm like, all right, I'm going to show the coach. I'm not going to run and hide from it.
I agree.
I'm going to attack it head on. So listen, if you're Bryce Huff and you have that kind of a thin skin, then the Eagles made a mistake in signing him to a 3-year contract. You hope it doesn't impact him. I don't think it will. He was asked about it. I thought one of the people asking the questions was going to get hit on the head because he kept hammering Bryce Huff. Hey, you can't play 3 downs. What do you think about that? That's what Fangio said. And he kept
that was
but yeah, listen, I think Huff will be fine. I mean, I really do. I mean, he's the guy. Fangio likes these guys that can rush and cover. And Huff is going to do that. And if he can't do it, then we'll see who can. I mean, Jalix Hunt to me, on day 1. Now I didn't see him as much on day 2, but day 1, he really stuck out to me. I think he's exactly the kind of player Fangio wants. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles took him because of Fangio, because he's got that safety background.
He does like him.
Yeah. And he looked real violent on some of his reps. He, on one rep with the first team, he pushed Jordan Mailata backwards with, he chopped his hands off and used a stiff arm to push Jordan Mailata backward. And I think that caught Mailata by surprise. And then he just abused Fred Johnson, the backup left tackle, on 1 rep too. So, this kid could be more of a role. And I wrote about it in my overreactions for SI. He could have more of a role than we think, especially because Fangio loves the kid.
I think that word. Yeah. That's great to hear from him.
I think Jordan and Lane are the same way, and they're just licking their chops until the pads come on.
Yeah.
Say, let's come,
yes.
young guy. Let's try it.
Yep.
Let's try it now.
Right. And we're licking their chops too, right, John? We can't wait to see the pads come on, man. That's always an exciting time when the pads come on. So I don't know what day that will be. Maybe Tuesday, I guess.
Probably Monday. Probably. I was looking at the acclimation. Yeah, I was looking at the acclimation period. I think you're allowed Monday. Doesn't mean you have to, but and Nick we'll probably ask Nick once Nick is talking. I believe
Saturday. No, Monday.
Oh, Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Tomorrow,
we'll know.
Saturday's
Tomorrow.
Kellen Moore, Saturday,
Yeah.
9:40, practice at 10.
Yeah, so early next week, we'll say. You'll probably
Yeah.
see the pads for the first time. And that'll be a big day because you get to see the physicality come back into it. And that's a big part for the Eagles offensive line.
Yeah, no doubt.
Lane and Jordan tend to bully people. And Landon as well, if Landon's back by that point. And that really changes the complexion. The defense as a whole, though, I think, Kellen Moore's got a lot more certainty. I mean, the only surprise to me over the first 2 days is it seems like the tight end 2 job is Grant Calcaterras to lose. I didn't expect that. I expected that to be more of a competition. Defensively, Vic's trying to figure it out, and he was honest, linebacker, cornerback. Those are the competitive battles, and I think they're different. He's got a bunch of guys I think he knows can play a corner. It's just a matter of finding the best fits for the best positions. And we don't have Cooper DeJean yet as well.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in that mix as well.
Mhm.
Linebacker, though, next to because Devin's been sort of the one constant. And then even Jeremiah Trotter Jr. got a couple reps before he cramped up. First team reps. Ben Van Sumer's gotten them. Zach Bond, he keeps talking about. And then there's Nakobe Dean. When Vic kind of gave the backhanded slap to him. Well, he's done it in college, but he's got to prove it at this level. A lot of people took that negative. Did you take that negative, Ed Kracz? I think Howie loves Nakobe.
Yeah, listen, I do too. I mean, it's just been bad luck with the injury last year, and that's going to be the key to his summer is can he be out there every single day? And, I asked Devin White yesterday about Nakobe, and he said they walked off the field together, and he said, hey, how do you feel? Because you look great. And Nakobe said, hey, I feel good. I feel comfortable. The more I get out here, the more comfortable I feel, the more fun I'm having. So to me, if he can stay on the field healthy, he'll probably be the starting linebacker next to Devin White, the off-ball linebacker. I think that middle linebacker job is White's. But I think that, we're seeing a lot of mixing and matching to see what, who can play, who can do what, how they can do it, because you never know during the course of a season, especially with Nakobe, if he'll be able to hold up for, the summer and then all 17 games and hopefully beyond if you're the Eagles in the playoffs. So, you have to find out who can do it. If Trotter can do it, or Ben Van Sumeren, or who was the linebacker that made that pass breakup yesterday? Went up
Terrell Lewis.
Terrell Lewis.
Yeah,
I mean, he made a really nice splash play there with a pass breakup. Really went up high to get it. I don't know, good vertical jump, probably higher than all three of ours combined. So that was nice. So yeah, it's all about mixing and matching right now if you're Fangio, and that's why I say I think the offense is going to need to carry this team at least early on. They're going to have to put 4 touchdowns up, in that opener in Brazil against the Packers.
Oh, yeah, the
It's going to be a tough game, that Packers game. Yeah.
It is. It really is. And, and listen, I don't think it's an easy schedule by any stretch. They only played 2 home games until November 3rd. Only 2 home games at the Link, I should say. That Brazil game is a home game, but it's not a home game.
No. Sao Paulo is not Philadelphia.
No, right. And we already talked about the betting situation and how it's it's going to be hard to find a bed that's going to hold Jordan Davis and Jordan Mailata and those bigger guys.
Mekhi Becton, you got to get involved.
Yeah,
now.
Mekhi Becton. So yeah, but that's not a home game. So listen, I think the offense is going to have to really kind of hit the ground running because it's going to take this defense, I think, a little bit of time to figure it out. But I think it's exciting. The players, some of these players they have. I mean, we talk about the pads. I can't wait to see Carter and Davis going against the interior of that Eagles offensive line. That'll be some fun battles to watch. And then when they do the one-on-one drills, when they match up, the Stoutland takes the lineman over to the other, field far, far away, and he puts them through the one-on-one drills. They're always fun to watch. So, we got a little taste here the first 2 days, but it's about to get even better as we go on here this week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ed, let's talk about the cornerback position. It was one of the things that was probably talked about the most in the offseason, who's going to play where and the depth and all those things. What have you seen so far? They kind of have been rotating a lot, but what stood out to you at the cornerback position through the first 2 days of camp?
Yeah, I mean, Keely Ringo has been, I thought, a little bit more average than I'd like to see. I don't think he has kind of built off a very good spring. I'd like to see him pick it up. Isaiah Rodgers, I don't think we'll really know until the pads come on. The big knock on him was tackling. He's not the best tackler when he was in Indianapolis. He's going to have to do it here. So to me, Quinyon Mitchell's been kind of used, in different positions. He's been in the slot. He's been outside. If I was handicapping it right now, after 2 days of camp, I would say probably Quinyon Mitchell. They're going to.
There we go. I'm team Q as well.
Yeah,
he throws everything at that guy. I mean, he's playing all three positions. He played dime linebacker in the spring, and he doesn't look overwhelmed at all.
Yeah, and
really
Fangio,
like he's a smart player. Just from what I've heard from you guys and reading the other beat reporters, seems like Quinyon's really a smart football player.
Yeah, I agree, and Fangio spoke pretty highly of him yesterday. So why not? I mean, the guy was the 22nd pick overall in the draft, the first cornerback I think off the board. Yeah, let's get him out there. Let's see what he can do, and I think we'll see that in the preseason. I was asked an interesting question about the preseason games because the Eagles only have one open practice, one joint practice this year, where in the past they've had 4 most years. Will we see more starters play in that first preseason game against the Ravens? And I think that's a good question, because they have so few joint practices. I think we could, and I think we'll see Quinyon out there playing a lot.
You know what I don't like about that game, though, Ed, is that they're playing the Ravens in the ear, so it's not like it's a random opponent. Not that matters that much, but they might try and keep things even closer to the vest versus that team who they're going to see later in the year, versus if you just played another AFC team that you weren't going to see. So I don't know. I'm hoping they get their guys out there, but I feel like they're not.
Yeah, it's funny because when they had the joint practices with the Jets up in North Jersey, with the Jets, but the Jets have a nice facility, by the way. I love that tree at the Jets practice fields. But they played the Jets that year, I believe, in the regular season, but it was late in the regular season, and Nick made a big deal of, it's not that big of a deal because it's so late. Things will have changed. With the Ravens, I think they play them late. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right, yeah.
But the difference is the Ravens are good. They don't want to, and they know they're going to be good. So,
well, you don't have to show anything. You can play your guys. You can
but
play
in practice. I meant that's why they didn't have the joint practices. I think that's the reason, because typically they have a history of joint practices with the Ravens. It would have been a perfect opportunity to do it again against a very good team, but they're playing them. I think that's why they didn't want to do it. But that has more to do with the Ravens being good. That's my conspiracy theory anyway. But one guy we don't talk about, I don't think I've mentioned him yet, Ed, and this is the first time I'm going to mention him. And nobody believes in him except the Eagles. I'm exaggerating because I believe in him. Reed Blankenship. I mean, that guy, I remember last year, we thought we were going to see this huge competition at safety. And we did, but it was opposite Reed Blankenship. He took every first team rep. He secured that job. Everybody rotated around him. And this year, same thing. Now you have Chauncey as well. And both of those guys have been static as starters and will be starters. Why do people want Eddie Jackson, who signed with the Ravens finally? They still want Justin Simmons because he won't make a decision. Why does nobody believe in Reed Blankenship except the Philadelphia Eagles? Ed Kracz.
Well, I'm not sure that nobody believes in Reed Blankenship. I think people do. I just think people don't believe in the Eagles' depth at safety. I mean, they are really, really thin at safety.
But you're not bringing in Justin Simmons to be a backup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot. I listen. The more good players you have on your roster, the better you're going to be. I mean, you can sort out the starting stuff or the backup stuff, however you want to do it. But I'm not opposed to bringing in more depth, and Justin Simmons is the best one out there. And then you sort it out on the field. But you can never have too many good players. But Reed is certainly one of them. I mean, I'm surprised that he wasn't among the first two waves of players that the Eagles make available for interviews after practice. You can tell a lot by, who is made available in the interviews. They come out day one with the heavy hitters, Barkley, Hurts, Lane Johnson, Darius Slay. And then day two is, the second wave of players. We had Goddard and, Cam Jurgens, Josh Huff, or I'm sorry, Bryce Huff.
Josh,
yeah.
Still at CBS.
Terrible. Bryce up, but Reed wasn't among that group is my point. And I'm surprised at that. I bet you he'll talk on Saturday because, he's a very valuable member of the team. There's no doubt. I mean, he's the guy he led the team in tackles and interceptions last year. I don't think anybody's discounting that or nobody loves Reed Blankenship. I just think when you look at the depth, man, their second team safeties were James Bradberry, who's never done it.
We got to talk about Bradberry
and Tristan McCollum. They were your two second-team safeties.
Well, and obviously Sidney's going to be back at some point, and he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the third safety.
Whenever that happens, who knows? I mean,
it's going to be 9 months. He's 23. Already looks like he can play. I mean, you've seen Sidney Brown. He's a tremendous athlete.
I saw him playing in a celebrity softball game in Allentown, and Devontae Smith
looks like he's 110%.
But yeah, he's taking bat. He's swinging the bat. He's running the bases. He looked good.
But that injury is an injury that needs a certain time to heal, and they're going to probably be cautious and go the full 9 months. So he'll be back early in the season. So I do think it's, the depth isn't great. I'm with you. Then you go down to Tristan McCullum. But James Bradberry, Vic was honest about him as well when I asked him about Bradberry. And he said, and he'll play some cornerback too. Is Howie risking something by keeping Bradberry around, by keep kicking this can? Obviously he wants something for him.
Yeah.
But if Vic keeps seeing this guy and says he can help me, he's going to do what he wants to do. Could that create some kind of conflict?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the question is Bradberry happy? It would be nice if he would talk to us, and we all talk about his accountability and his, he's stand-up guy.
I think he would talk to us.
Yeah. It would be nice if we got him on Saturday to find out, what he's thinking about this situation. But right now he has a role. He's a backup safety and a backup cornerback. Now, could that come at the expense of keeping, I don't know, an Eli Ricks or, we've seen Eli Ricks take a lot of reps too. So I don't think it'll be Ricks. And then McPherson's good on special teams, Josh Jobe. But listen, if you're going to have to part with somebody to keep a Bradberry, I don't think the Eagles would do that. But right now, we're not even in August. I think Bradberry has a role that the Eagles are using. So, we'll see, what happens from here. But I think definitely Howie wants to trade him. He doesn't want to just cut him and let the vultures, swarm over him and take him. He wants to get something.
Yeah. And you're seeing what's happening with some cornerbacks around the league. I mean, you never want to see injuries in training camp, but it's an inevitable part of it.
Yeah,
and maybe Howie factored that in and was right. And, you're already seeing some teams that might need a cornerback. Maybe they'll come in, and try and pick James Bradberry up. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. But right now I think he has a role and with this thin safety group, he's getting a lot of reps. So, and James is a smart guy, he might be.
Does he look all right? Because Vic that's the one other thing I was laughing at Vic Fangio with what he said. I'm like, boy, Howie's up here trying to parade this guy and increase his value. And Vic Fangio's like, oh, yeah, he's probably not going to be a good safety.
Yeah. Well, I think he set the he set a more realistic expectations that
yeah, you're right. He did.
It's hard to do, and if Bradberry can do it, everybody will love the fact that he can. But if he doesn't,
I asked him that Bradberry guy, and I kind of laughed at Vic shutting me down because I was thinking when I asked the question, I'm thinking about like Hall of Fame players. I'm thinking like Rod Woodson and Charles Woodson did it, and Ronnie Lott was a corner before he turned into a safety.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about those guys, and Vic was like, well, yeah. Not a lot of them are successful, and he's 100% right.
Yeah. Well, that's what Sirianni said when he said in the spring, like, hey, a lot of guys have done it. Rod Woodson's done it.
Yeah.
Or Charles Woodson.
Yeah. And those are Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Bradberry's not a Hall of Famer.
No,
I mean, come on. But, and he's been in the league. I think those guys transitioned maybe earlier in their careers. I mean, this is Bradberry's
Well, they were pretty late. But Lott was early. Was early. And they were later, and they kind of they kind of extended their careers because they were getting a little bit long in the tooth to play corner. And that's, the hope, I guess, with Bradberry. But
it was cool to hear Fangio say how hard that transition is, because remember the guys that have come through that, everybody thinks, oh, Rasul Douglas, they should move him to safety. Like it's easy. Or, who was another guy? Keely Ringo is a guy. Wait, put him at safety. I mean, it's not that easy.
They see somebody who's 6'2" and 205. Hey, put him at safety.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that easy, and it was good to hear Fangio kind of set the expectation on how hard that transition
Probably
is.
Not good for Howie though. Tone it down. Oh, he's great. He's a great center fielder.
Vic's got a blank check, man. He can. He's got the ultimate job security for any coach in the league, probably.
Yeah, he's and he's going to do what he wants, and that's a good thing.
Yes,
like Ed Kracz at KratzE on X.com. Make sure you read them at si.com/NFL/Eagles. Been doing a great job over there. You can even read me while you're reading Ed and get excited by that. So we got a ton of coverage up, ton of stories going up every day. Ed's got his overreactions. I got my observations each day when we're done practice. So all that good stuff there. And the best thing is it's free. It seems like what are we? Dave and us. Dave, I think NBC Sports Philadelphia is still free. We're free.
I think you're right. Yeah, it might be the only two that are free content out there. So people should be taking advantage of that, no doubt.
Yeah, take advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And JAKIB Sports, Ed Kracz. JAKIB
Sports,
free for the people. That's
right, man. Yeah, working hard for free for the people, man.
Absolutely. Well, Ed, thanks for joining the show, man. Great context you brought. It's always good to talk to you guys when you guys are down there. You guys are the few people that get to watch it up close and personal. So great takeaways from you, Ed. We'll look forward to talking to you again soon. Great job on all the coverage. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Ed Kracz joining us on Birds 365. Great stuff from Ed. I love talking to Ed. I love reading Ed's work. He always brings a good dynamic to the show, Johnny Mac. You guys are a good tandem, you and Ed Kracz. Good you guys have a good little partnership there at SI. So it's always good to get Ed Kracz here. Johnny Mac, we'll take one more quick time out, and then we'll come back and we'll close out this week, man. First week of training camp is already in the books. Went by quick, so stay tuned, everybody. We'll come back and wrap up this Friday edition of Birds 365.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.